It's a great win for us. Team victory, very clean first half that got the table set for the entire football game. Really proud of our guys' preparation. Obviously, last week was probably a little tougher loss than maybe we led on to believe throughout the course of the week, and that one stung with us because I think we really believed we could win that football game all off season, and we just didn't do it. So I've seen these games go the other way. Where it's sluggish at the start, and it's like pulling teeth to get guys to go out and get moving. And obviously our team had, like I said, a great week of practice and a very focused group that started that football game, and really all three phases. I think we were momentum swings on the block punt. Nate Bauer's interception, a couple big plays on down the field in the passing game got us ignited and really got our crowd involved in the game, which I thought was an outstanding crowd. So hats off to our fans for being here for us and our support, the support they provided. It's going to be huge for us the rest of the way out. And we need you next Saturday night here back in the Glass Bowl, as we got a great team coming in. But really pleased with our team throughout. Got a lot of young players in there at the end of the game to play, invaluable snaps, and will be a great film session for those guys tomorrow as well to build off of the key moments that they were able to have tonight. So excited about getting into that tape tomorrow morning and turning the page to the next week.
Does the sheer level of focus just tell you anything about your team that you were waiting to see?
Well, I think you always know, but until you face some adversity and real action, you really don't know because you don't have the opportunity to respond. And I think young people, 18 to 22-year-old people, and anybody with a cell phone today is really excited to react to everything, and we live in a reactionary society. So I always try to put pressure on our guys to pay more attention to the response rather than the reaction. Let the outsiders handle the reactions, and I think our response to a tough moment last week was really, really good. But I think I told you guys Monday. I think you sit in that locker room last week after the game, and it's, oh, hey, if you play like this, you have the potential to win all your games. Well, the other side of that coin is if you don't prepare like you prepared for last week, and you don't play with the high effort that you played with last week, and you don't apply pressure like you did last week, you won't win any games. That's just college football. So, this is a very fine line, and you teeter on the mountaintop, and you can fall either way. And, so you got to do a good job of prepping each week and taking each day for what it's worth. You only get 24 hours, and you got to make the most of them because these weeks go fast, and Saturday comes at you quickly.
This week, could you see it building positively, the energy, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think I just always appreciate what our guys are able to do on the practice field. I think this is a group that competes. You know what I mean? You see Daquan's up here with the T-shirt on, it says compete. I think that's our DNA. That's who we are. So I don't ever worry about that piece of it because there's so many good players in our program that are, whether they're older or they're veteran guys or they're young guys, they're trying to get their opportunity. Practice has become very competitive, and we've built this for the long haul. We've tried to recruit that way. We've tried to develop that way. So you could really say that the standard remains to be the standard within the walls and of your own building, and really mean it. You know what I mean? Every coach says that, but you really have the depth that you need. You're really developing the guys like that, and I think we're not there yet, but I think we're getting awful close to that. And I think that a lot of young players went in tonight and played well. I think we were, I think we were 5 of 5 in third down in the first half, and when all the young guys go in, you could easily see that go south. Well, we finished 10 of 12, you know what I mean? So in tough, critical moments in situational football, 9 of 9 in the red zone, they executed in situational football. And sometimes young players don't understand the importance of that, and they don't put time and energy into the effort to do so. So I think it was very positive to see that.
What did you think the first half told you? The execution was flawless, basically on both sides of the ball. When you factor in losing a tough game, you come in this week and an opponent where maybe they're not going to have like your full focus.
Yeah, I think immature teams handle that way. And if I thought we were going to be a letdown, I would have. I don't think I'd have known my football team like I think I did. So I kind of expected we'd play really, really well. I don't know if I thought we'd play that well, but my gosh, these guys are grown ups. These are mature guys. They understand. They've been through some battles, and they're battle tested when it comes to the adversity that a college football season brings. So I wouldn't anticipate a letdown today, from my perspective, anyways.
How encouraged are you what you've seen out of Penny these first couple of weeks?
Yeah, Penny's worked really hard. He's also in a very competitive room that's got a lot of talent. And I get asked all off season, who's the running back? It sorts itself out. You know what I mean? And we got to continue to develop, and we're not. We didn't get a lot of plays today. You know what I mean, in the first half. So even though it was a one-sided score and a one-sided game, I mean, he still only got 6 carries. I mean, 3 just happened to be for touchdowns. You know what I mean? If he doesn't score any touchdowns, you guys probably don't ask him to come up here. But, you know, he gets 6 carries. I mean, there's going to be a game where he's going to have to get 18 to 20. And some other guys are going to be in the same boat. You know, Jock Stewart's 7.5 yards a carry again tonight. I mean, every time we've given him the ball his career, he's been over 6 or 7 yards a carry. So it's a very competitive room. And I think he understood and saw the light that, hey, if I'm going to have the potential to be the future guy here, I got to really work and really got to, you know, and I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this is particular to his case, but sometimes transfers, when they go to a different place, they think they just turn the page and it's just going to be a different story. And if your same habits follow you from the other place, then it's a bad experience. So credit to him for, you know, really taking care of and paying attention to the details that are going to be necessary for him to be the best player he can be. Because I think we all understand if he does that, he's a pretty special kid.
Larry Stevens got his first 2 touchdowns today as a Rocket. Just what did that mean to you as a coach to see his development, to be able to shine out there in a game?
Yeah, really happy for Larry, obviously. You know, he was a guy last week I was kind of down on it after the game last week, and he knew that. And, you know, we had a long talk on Sunday and about preparation and what it looks like to, you know, you're just – some players, when a good player graduates and moves on, they just assume they're next up because they were a 2 last year. Well, you know, that's a very competitive room as well. And, you know, you got – Eric Hawley's emerged. You know, Jaden Dotton has transferred in here and has done well in the first 2 games. And, you know, man, but I thought Larry had a great week of practice, and it was really good to see that work got rewarded. And, you know, that should be a clear picture for him and other young players that, hey, this is what it looks like. And sometimes the football gods have a way of sorting that out. So he had a great week of practice and played really good today, and really happy for him.
I know that you get to see them in practice every day, but are there some of those younger players that on this game stage now impressed you, especially in that second half?
Well, Eric Hawley blocked a punt and was an ankle tackle away from breaking a kickoff return for a touchdown. You know, Julian Allen went in there and caught some punts today and did some good stuff that way. And, you know, I think there's a lot of guys. I mean, my gosh, we played 100 guys today. So there's a lot of guys that fall into that category. But I'm excited to watch the tape, to go back and go through and really see who really did shine at their potential roles and opportunities that they had. So, yeah, and I think that anytime you have that opportunity, I think it boosts the morale of anything for any Sunday, because now, you know, 100 guys are getting coached tomorrow off of what they see on the videotape rather than just 40 or 50. And I think that's a big thing. So it's good to get a game like this to get those guys in and get that experience.
Not to go back to the Notre Dame game, but similar preparation to season opener, did you sense anything? I know it's hard 2 years ago to look back, but did you sense a different level of focus the week after this year versus that?
No, I don't. I just think that we have a group that has tangible evidence on what it is to handle adversity the right way. I mean, that's how we got a championship last year. So, you know, whether you like it or not, or whether adversity is coming in college football. We had a little bit last week. I'm sure we'll have more. I mean, there's no doubt about it. All over the country, you know, experts pick teams to go undefeated and they lose, and, you know, things happen. So, I mean, you got to be able to respond and get off the mat and keep playing. So I think our end of our season last year taught our team a lot. That team that was out at Notre Dame, only a few guys remain from that 2017 championship team that lived that. So I think there's a lot of guys here that understand what it takes, and you got to continue to buy into that.
I mean, another good opponent is coming in here next week, pretty under the radar kind of group of 5 game. Through 2 games, I mean, there's like no glaring weaknesses on you guys. I mean, do you think like the confidence is kind of swelling here?
We're 1-1. We're trying to go 2-1 this week against a really good team. You know, they got a really good quarterback. They played 2 monsters on their schedule to start out the year, 2 teams that I think are very good teams. We're going to have to be at our best to win this football game this weekend. So we're going to need that glass bowl packed. We're going to need the same energy this week from everybody else in the peripheral that put it into this week to make sure that was a great event today, and it was. And we got to do the same job as coaches to make sure we put the same amount of energy into preparation, and our kids got to do the same thing so we play well Saturday.
Anything else?
Yeah, these games sometimes, coming off a tough loss, you have an opponent that, maybe you overlook or don't care much about, but obviously that was not the case this week. Did that start in practice? Did really good practices this week?
Absolutely. I think that we all, really took that one last week and really took it to heart and wanted to improve, and me especially, I really wanted to improve, and so I think everybody took this team. We didn't take them lightly. they're a good football team. We a ton of we did a lot of things. Like we watched more film. We practiced really hard. It was a good deal. So I think we got the result that we wanted, and that was a good thing.
How, in the first quarter in particular, because both sides of the ball played really well, what was the energy like on the sideline as you're stopping them, offensive scoring?
I mean, it felt really good. It felt electric. You know, it felt as good as it's been. I feel like the defense together. I mean, we were all just locked in. You know, every drive we were all down there before kickoff. You know, just chomping at the bit, and I think that that really showed up on the field too. I can't speak for offense, but they looked like they were tearing it up too, and you know, it was just a mentality thing. I think it felt really different. It felt really good. Like everybody was prepared. We had watched enough film. We knew what was coming, and we really wanted to go out and execute. I feel like we did.
Yeah, I know it's a small sample size. You only played 2 games,
Right.
but I mean, you got a big opponent coming in next week. Should be a good game.
Absolutely.
Defensively, I mean, do you feel really confident about this group? I mean, each level of the defense. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's really too many weaknesses or anything glaring right now.
I feel like we got a lot of depth. You know, we got a lot of guys that can play, and obviously, you know, secondary is really good. Linebackers are really good, and I think the guys in my D line room we're deep. You know, I mean, even when the fours were out there at the end of the game, and those guys were doing well and reading keys, and you know that starts with our coaches, and they're just putting us in great situations to succeed, and really just pouring into us. And I think it was just a culmination of all of that this week, and I was super excited, and I had a blast. I think everybody else did too.
I was just curious, going back to the Notre Dame game 21, it was similar to last week where you guys played so well and came up just short. The week of practice last week versus the week after that game, I know it's taken back a ways, but could you sense a different level of focus where it wasn't going to be a hangover this time?
Yes.
It's like that we're not going to let this impact our season.
Yes, I think absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I can't think that's 2 years ago. It's a long time ago. I feel like we try to practice hard every week, but I think that this week, you know, everybody was really locked in on the task at hand. Everybody was, you know, every period of practice was like the Super Bowl, especially on Tuesday. You know, we got out there and it was like go time. And I can't really speak on 2 years ago. I can barely remember what I had for breakfast. So, but
A lot, whatever it was.
yeah, it was. Anyway, yeah.
You had mentioned the depth. Just how fun is it that once the one's job is done, you got to see these guys that may not get as much field time throughout the season get out there and make plays the way that they did, especially in the second half.
I mean, it was great. Those guys, they worked their tails off, you know. And honestly, there's not a big drop off between the 1s, 2s, and 3s and 4s. And I think that it shows that those guys can go in the game at the end of the game and, like, you know, stop a drive. And I think that was really cool to see, and cool to see my young guys succeed. You know, Malachi Davis is like a totally different player than he was a year ago. A lot of those freshmen have come a long way just through camp. So that was really cool to see.
No, I was kind of upset, but I know I'm playing. But that incompletion, like, it was just, you know, part of football. You're gonna have some completions, you're gonna have some incompletions, but you know, at the end of the day, just as long as we execute, that was the only thing I cared about. So,
I mean, the whole team kind of was in a zone today. Obviously, you know, going 16 to 17 is pretty good. I don't know. Did you feel something out there in terms of like warm-ups, practice this week that you're gonna have that kind of game?
just the preparation throughout the week. I feel as though Coach Kendall, Coach Wiener, you know, and the whole coaching staff put a good plan out there for us to, you know, execute, do a good job of. See some things that I kind of, you know, got confused on early in the week. He clarified it throughout the middle of the week, and it was just, you know, overall, you know, better view from me as far as my standpoint, looking at the defense, and you know, so big props to them. So
How important did you think it was to build off, even in defeat last week, to build off of that and like continue like the positive momentum and building the confidence and all that?
Yeah, just, you know, wiping that week out. You know, last week was last week, and this was a new week, and we all said that we all had that mentality of, you know, flushing that out and just focusing on Texas Southern, and, you know, just doing what we can to execute and dominate at a high and elite level, and that's what we did, and you know, it showed on the field, and so we're gonna celebrate this for 24 hours and flush this out and get ready for next week.
And then you've been teammates with Penny for a long time. He's obviously slimmed down. He just like, I don't know, seems like a different player out there this year. Just how different does he feel to you?
Look like high school Penny again. You know, I'm happy to have him, you know, with me in the backfield. You know, he gonna run that ball. He gonna run it. He gonna run it downhill, and he don't care like who it is and who's in front of him. He gonna run the ball. So just having that type of running back, you know, behind me, it like relieves a lot of stress on me as far as like, you know, dealing with a lot, you know, passing and running. But having that type of running back, it's been very good to have.
Larry caught his first touchdowns today as a Rocket. Just how exciting is that to see how far he's come?
Yeah, my boy Larry. Man, a lot of work. I'll say that for sure. You know, us putting in a lot of hard work. You know, behind closed doors and dark, and just finally seeing him capture his moment. It was very special. You know, 'cause that was also my roommate at some point in time. So you know, it's a surreal moment. So.
Obviously, you kind of reshaped your body. Well, when did that start in the offseason?
Like after that last game in Boca, I mean, I had like a good little run, and I just threw up, and I was like, I was never that big, you know. In high school, I was like only like 225, you know. So, you know, I had to really work and do stuff I don't normally do and actually eat right. So, you know, I'm happy I'm getting almost to my regular stuff, my regular weight, high school weight. So, you know, feeling good.
What do you weigh now, and what did you weigh last season?
Last season, I was like almost touching 250, but then like this season, like 236 right now. So, you know, I had to get that off me.
I mean, was it really difficult to get down to that and be disciplined? And
I'd say like the difficult part was eating and like drinking the right stuff too, because I lose like 5 pounds and then come back and gain it right back that next morning, and it wasn't feeling good. So I had to actually eat the right stuff and drink actually a lot of water too. So
how, just out of curiosity, what's your diet typically?
You know, I eat like a lot of like fruits and salads. You know, my girl started like doing juicing, like with juices and stuff. So, you know, right now it's just probably eat big that first morning, and then through the whole day it's like little stuff or stuff just to make sure my body is good that next day. So.
Well, I mean, last week you had a pretty agile touchdown on that catch. The run, the long one today, same way. Like, do you feel kind of like you can do different things and be more impactful? This
I always, like, even through high school, I always could play like that. You know, I was just so big, and it was putting more on my knees and my ankles. So I'll be hurt even before I was going out there. So, you know, just, right, and got me back to my regular stuff.
How was that third touchdown, the one where you kind of like bulldozed through a guy? How does that embody the kind of tailback that you want to be?
Just showing them that I can actually like move more than 5 yards. You know, and I'm not just a 5-yard running back. So just showing them a little speed, and you know, I got to end it, right. So yeah.